Hey guys, part 2 of my declutter video. All the previous disclaimers are in place. None of these decks are bad. It's just that, we're not kind of getting along and I don't want to have too many decks, so I'm trying to rehome a few that I thought that would stay, but are not staying. Okay, second part, first deck is the Steampunk Tarot, and I was so excited for this one because I love steampunk. And I think the bag matches the bag very well. I do love the illustrations and everything, but this is such a Rider-Waite-Smith clone that I just don't use it. I love one of my favorite ones. I just don't use it because I have enough decks that are not Rider-Waite-Smith clones that I'm much more interested in using than a flat-out clone. I mean, not in a bad way, You know what you get when you look at this Seven of Swords. You know exactly the meaning with the King of Pentacles. And I love it. I mean, look at it, it's so pretty. But I think I've only used it a few times and then I never reached for it. I didn't even edge it, so it stayed in the shape and form pretty much that it came. It's a Llewellyn deck, so the cardstock is really good. But yeah, it's just, honestly, I'm just keep pulling it out to work with it and then never work with it, even if it's on my table. So not a lot of point to keep it. Yeah, makes me sad, but I don't want to waste space and decks, just to lay around. Next one, this was the first bag that I made, so it doesn't look really good. I edged this one, and I was sure that I wanted to have the bigger version. I really like the edge. It's like golden and blue. For the Everyday Witch Tarot, because I have the mini and I used a lot of the times, and it's still my travel deck until I will have a mini version of the Smoke, Ash and Embers, because as soon as that deck comes, that's gonna be my, travel deck. But until then I have the mini, and I kind of wanted the big one because I thought that I would need, because obviously you can see the artwork so much nicer, and that is absolutely true. But I just, again, I have so many other decks that I reach for first before this one that it makes absolutely no sense, or, I can't justify having this one around. That it's not just that I can't, it's that I don't want to justify it, because I don't want to just have decks. I don't know why I feel like I have to say it all the time, but I could declutter decks and not give you a reason why. But I kind of feel like there has to be a justification for getting rid of decks, which is, all in all, it's interesting. Next one is the Dungeons and Dragons. This is the first printing. I didn't do a lot with the deck itself. I mean, this is like horrible box still. I have the first printing, which has no minor titles on the deck. So I'm not sure if anybody is going to be interested. I colored these tiny pentacles in a color association that I associate with the suits. So red is for wands, the silver one's for air or swords, the gold one is for pentacles, and there's a blue for the cups. Book depository is, it's gonna be closing down by the time you're watching this video. It's already gone, but I still ordered, see, these are the cups. I ordered the second copy of this deck. Hopefully it's gonna be the one with titles, because I absolutely love this deck. And my only problem with it was that the titles were not here, and it wasn't easily distinguishable which suit a card belonged to, because this doesn't scream two of wands to me, but for me. But you know, it's a very interesting deck. It's on my list to work with it for a month. I'm just hoping that what I'm getting from Book Depository is gonna be the correct printing now. I've seen people getting this deck from Book Depository, even though, you know, other side of the world, and getting the right one. So I'm hoping, but if not, then you have 2 copies. Oh god, I hope not. Next one is the Work Your Light Oracle. It's the same reason why I'm not gonna keep it, is why I'm not keeping the Gateway to Light Oracle. This is the whole starseed idea. I just don't resonate with the whole thing as much as I thought I would. And there are cards in this one. It's a collage deck, but there are cards that I really like, but cards that I just don't like the colors and nothing, to be honest. Like I said, nothing wrong with the artwork. It's just my taste in artwork is different, and I think it's okay to have a different taste. I just wanted to show you, like, I like this one, but in this one there was less that I liked than in the Gateway, that's for sure. I'm getting the shadow version of the Moonchild, so I will have something from Danielle Noel. But I think that deck has much more of an earthy feel, not as much of a starseedy. That's why I'm getting it too. So I will have something from her, it's just not this one. Next one is the Colliver Reed Enchanted Map Oracle card. I think it's a great deck. This is the old version, I think, if I remember correctly, because there was a change in these whatever they called title pieces. The reason why I'm not keeping it, the art style is absolutely not my favorite, but I have her Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and I really like that, and I use that a lot. And this is too similar in feelings and just what it gives me. Plus, the keywords are not as good, in my opinion, as the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So I worked with this one, as this was a gift, so I was able to see it, and I was excited for this one because I wanted to try it, but I didn't get as many really good readings out of this deck than I got from the Wisdom of the Oracle. So, you know, they feel very, very similar to me. So I think if you have one, you don't need the other. If you're not absolutely, you know, like resonating with it or love the artwork and stuff like that. So I'm keeping the Wisdom of the Oracle. Next one is an indie deck. It's Neo Moon by Pixel Occult. I was very happy to get this one. It's a sci-fi-ish deck for sure. This is the pocket edition. But to be honest, I just, even though I love the colors, ever since that I have the Lost Hello, the pocket edition, I just don't feel like I want to reach for this one. I like that deck much more, and even though this is fun and I really appreciate the guidebook, that's a great story on its own, that you can check out, you know, for free online, which I think is really cool. I just don't reach for it, and I don't know, I don't really know really why, because I don't have sci-fi decks besides this one, and that is something that I really wanted to have, but I think I'm over my phase when I wanted to have a deck for each category. I just want now decks that work for me really well, and I don't care if I have decks from the same round, like earthy decks, a lot of them, because I now know what I want a lot more clearer or better than I did before. And I wrote which suits are what in the traditional system here, because I just couldn't remember. So yeah, this is the Neo Moon Pocket Edition. Next one was a mistake again. This happened after my grandmother died. I was just, you know, trying to do something. I was window shopping, and I wanted a deck, and this felt like a good deck to get at that time. The cards were huge, so obviously I trimmed the deck, I edged it, because I was absolutely sure that I would want this deck. So I don't know. Now I know I don't. There are no titles, but this is again an RWS clone, in a way that you can look at this and be like, ah, this is the Hermit. Oops, I lost the Five of Wands, the Fool, Three of Swords. So you only need to go through the deck, I think, once to be able to say that this is the Wheel of Fortune. I left the edges sharp because I've kind of felt like that the artwork looks better this way. But obviously, if you're a deck modder, you can do that if it bothers you. If I don't, because the size is quite small this way, it never caught in my palm, so I don't think it's a problem. But obviously, it's understandable if someone doesn't want it in this shape, strength. But it's a great one. But as soon as I did the modification, I realized I don't need this one, and I don't know why. Because before that, I was absolutely sure that I wanted this deck, that I'm gonna use it, during Halloween season and stuff like that, and I was excited for it. But as soon as I finished with remodding it, or not remodding, modding it, our time together was done, and I cannot explain why. I don't know. Did it ever happen to you? Any of you? Please do let me know, because it's quite a new experience for me. Oh, and it's the sorry. I'm so sorry, but yeah, you gotta go. Next one is the Heavenly Body Astrology deck, which I got because I wanted to learn astrology, but I realized since then that next lifetime I just don't have the time to do as deep of a study as astrology deserves. I think it's a good one. I trimmed it, and I don't think I ever had the chance to edge it, but it had a white border, which I didn't like. I think the cards look so much nicer without it. I like the keywords. So for example, for Chiron it's hurt and heal. For air is open-mindedness, objectivity, and learning. So I think it's a good study deck. I have it for years now, and I never had a chance to actually sit down and learn the cards. I really do like these cards with the watercolors and stuff like that. But there's no point in keeping this deck and holding on to it when I just know that I don't have the time to study astrology. And when I still have the Star Codes Oracle, Star Codes Astro Oracle, I think that's the name. I don't have it at hand right now, but that one is also an astrology deck, and I really like the art style better, more than I do this one. So if I will ever have a chance to study, or time to study it, I will have something to start with. Next one is a deck that I had as a Kickstarter deck. I think this was my first Kickstarter, and this is a great deck for people who have issues regarding masculinity, and more so I think for men, especially growing up young men, who needs help to distinguish between outside influences on what does it mean to be a man, especially these days in this society when a lot of people are know it all, and they want to tell you how you should feel about masculinity in general. And why I got this deck is I wanted to support this idea, because I think it's very well needed, the conversation for young men to know that certain roles might have changed, but that doesn't mean that that they are not as good, or I don't even know, it's a complex question. But so I wanted this deck because I thought that I could work with my issues regarding, not issues necessarily, but just questions regarding masculinity, how I feel about it, in which part of my life does it show up. But I realized that I don't really work with archetypes as gendered and I don't need it to be gendered because I don't have issues with it because my father wasn't an asshole growing up. So I think a lot of people's issues come from that. I'm just assuming, not saying, but my issues are not issues that I need a deep dive in. I have issues otherwise, other places, but not here. So I would like to have this deck with someone who needs this type of work. It doesn't matter gender, I think. Just, the topic of masculinity. If you need shadow work, I think this deck could be good with that. And almost done with the second video. Look at me. I'm definitely talking less now that I went through these decks once already. So this one is the Heaven and Earth Tarot. Another, I would say, beautified, painting-ified, which is not a word, I know. A painted version of the RWS. I think it's a beautiful deck. My issue is, I don't like young queens with old kings. That's just so medieval and I don't like that. But other than that, I think it's a beautiful deck. I just don't really use it anymore. I had this as my winter deck and I used it the first winter when I got it a lot and it was great. But I just never, I don't even think I pulled any, I don't think I pulled it once since that happened, and that was like 2 years ago now. So yeah, there's no point holding on to it, plus there are no nipples, like what's the point with nipples? And I never got it around, I edged it, I think it's the edge color, it's a grayish brownish color. It represents winter for me because we don't have snow anymore. And there are, extra information on the bottom of the card with planets and alignments. Again, I wanted to learn these. I just never had the chance to actually dedicate time to it. So, I'm not gonna keep it anymore. I'm sorry. And the last one is an indie deck. Since this deck came out, now there is a mass market edition, but this is the indie deck version if anyone's interested. This is the When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck. It's a watercolor. I love the gilding on it. It's matte gold. It's really nice. It's rose petal. This was my first fancy deck, I think. But it works with chakras. I don't know a lot about chakras. And I don't have time right now, and I don't see happening that in the foreseeable future. I wanted this because I saw Lisa Papez talking about it all the time, and it's not her fault, it's mine, because I fell in love with the art style, and I was like, oh, it's gonna work for me. Plus it has the bee on the box, but it just doesn't, so yeah, so if you have, the mass market and you really want the indie edition, or you just like this, feel free to reach out, because I would like this to be with someone who could appreciate it. So yeah, this was the second part of all the decks that I'm decluttering. I know I can't remember everything that I said in the first take. I know I talked more about the decks and why they didn't work, so if you have any question, please feel free to ask, because I just can't remember anymore. But yeah, part 3 is coming soon. Thank you so much for watching and I hope this was useful. See you in the next one. Bye!